we know that creatine will increase the power, and it's gonna increase perhaps body weight a little bit. So if you start taking creatine, you might gain a little bit more lean body mass, just because of water retention and being able to be stronger, and see if you have performance benefits. Then you might be thinking like, oh yeah, perhaps I can actually push way higher numbers with higher body mass. So
is creatine, for a long time, anyone I talked to was like, same protocol, no loading, 5 grams of creatine a day, pair it with a little bit of vitamin C to help with absorption. I have seen some debate. I think they're calling this the nanosphere now. The podcasters like Huberman, Peter Attia, all these lads. I had seen debate around the dosage of creatine and people pushing creatine dosage 15 to 20 grams a day. I think it was Rhonda Patrick was talking about a 20 gram a day protocol. Have you seen this research on higher creatine dosages, or do you have thoughts on it?
I'm not an expert in creatine, but I don't like extremes. So I would probably with cyclists that when I work with, I go slowly and relatively low doses, just because usually they're so lean and so kind of small as compared to, for instance, bodybuilders, that I don't want to go to extremes and then be sorry when 2 months later we are like 3 kilograms off our target body mass, and the rider is actually not performing as well as he should have.
The point you bring up around weight loss, especially around hard training, being, my experience has been it's quite difficult around hard training. No, sorry, difficult's the wrong word. It's counterintuitive, because I came out, so I've been using Hexus Tutor. You're working, or moved across to Hexus as well. Actually, if anyone wants to try my Hexus code, David from Hexus gave me one. It might still work. You're welcome to try and use it. It's just Roadman. It might work, it might not. Who knows? But my experience was, so in the Christmas period, I'm not a pro athlete. Like, I had a chance to chat with Darren Rafferty just before Christmas, and I was like, are you going to using Hexus all the way through Christmas? And he's like, I'll pause it for a couple of days just over Christmas Day. I'm not trying to count stuffing and gravy on Christmas Day using Hexus. I'll be totally honest, I paused it for a lot more than a couple of days. Darren was a lot more disciplined than me, but he's paid to ride his bike. So it's probably end of January almost by the time I properly got back on. And now you have this guilt. And this is kind of what I want you to speak to on it, because a lot of us suffer this same thing regardless of the time scale. Some of us like have a bad weekend, and then on Monday we feel like the need to, quote unquote, punish ourselves by having a lower calorie day. Same goes for me here. Like, I had the Christmas period where I overindulged a little bit, which bled into January, and then it's back like start of February. I'm like, okay, I need to get back on this. I chatted with Sam Impey, and he's just like, just get back on Hexus. And it's really intuitively hard to, in your head, you're like, I want to shed a couple of kilograms, and then you open your Hexus and you're doing like a 2-hour endurance ride today, and your calorie consumption for the day is 3,800 calories, and you're meant to lose weight with this. But somehow magically you do lose weight with this. Like, we're seeing, like, we're loads of our athletes now in our Not Done Yet community, our coaching community, are using Hexus, and the results are being ridiculous. People are shedding weight. But intuitively, it makes no sense, because we're all eating so much more food than we would have otherwise eaten if we had a self-selected based on the idea that we're losing weight at the moment. Like, help me get my head around this. What's going on?
I think it makes you gradually lose body mass rather than do it like quickly as we would intuitively do ourselves. Because, yeah, as you said, you would just like try to cut the calories wherever possible, and then you go to the extremes, and then when you go to the extremes, what happens is also your energy expenditure outside the bike will go down, the recovery will worsen, and everything just like shuts down. The body is like in a mode, survival mode, and then you also makes you binge eat perhaps on certain days, and it's called a yo-yo effect. It's like well described in the literature. So you lose weight and then you gain it back on, and then you lose it again and gain it back on. Whereas with like structured nutrition advice, be it a Hexus or working with a nutritionist, you kind of set the goals and you try to create a small energy deficit day after day. And this still allows you to recover. You're well fueled for the session still, and in the long term, you can lose weight because simply you did not restrict yourself too much. You just do and consistently train and still push high numbers, and that's kind of the magic of it.
Because there's a huge mental component to dieting, at least for amateur athletes. We wrap food up in morality and we tag some foods good foods, other foods bad foods. Do you find that at pro level as well? Do you need to buy into this, or is this generation just so accustomed to weighing food that it's just automatic?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when I work with young riders these days, and I have one young rider. He's 19 and he just logs the food automatically. There is no question being asked. Like, he just expects the numbers to be there in the app, and he will log the food in, no problem. Whereas if you talk about to older riders, they would be like, oh, that's I don't want to do that. It's
I can't imagine Alaphilippe likes logging his food.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't work with him, so I wouldn't dare to comment. But yeah, with older riders, it's more difficult. I also see it myself. It's a burden to me to actually log the food in. Whereas for young riders, it's just like a normal thing to do.
But I think we take our hang-ups, and sorry for bracketing you in, I think you're a few years younger than me, but like, I think as a slightly older generation, we take our hang-ups and we project them onto the upcoming generation. I've had this experience as well, where I've spoken with 22-year-old World Tour riders. And when you talk to the ex-World Tour rider who's 40, 44 years old, like, oh, I could never race now because I could never do that log, and it's such a mental fatigue. You talk to the 22-year-olds, it's like zero cognitive stress from uploading this food. It's just like, brush my teeth, log my food, instant. It's automated.
Yeah, I could be part of the problem that we have had experience of trying to lose body mass or be like very strict and, restrict your calories by, 1,000 kilocalories a day. And somebody telling us, not me, but in general, like, you need to really restrict your intake to be able to lose body mass. So you're kind of afraid of logging the food because you will be under control. Whereas for young riders, they don't have that bad experience with logging the food, and just feels like setting up, like sending an information about the body mass in the morning. So this particular rider that I have in mind, if he's light in the morning, he will be alarmed and he would message saying, oh, my weight is down, I don't feel good this morning. Whereas for an older rider, it would be the opposite. Low weight, well, amazing, that's gonna be my day. So it's a like generational shift in here, and it's kind of nice to see this to happen, because this means that this young guy, I'm not concerned about high number on the scale after glycogen loading. He actually wants that, and he will feel good about it. Also, I will know I'll be in control of his kind of dietary intake, and this is not going to trigger any kind of problems with his overall diet. Whereas for older people, it can be triggering, and it can be a burden, and leads to mental problems.